So you're at the casino, you've just won a big jackpot, and you are full of excitement, and then the casino hands you a W-2G. Today we're sitting down with a licensed tax professional to talk about everybody's favorite topic of taxes. Welcome back, everybody, to Cowboy Slots. Today, I'm joined by Nicole Anderson, who's a licensed tax professional, and we're going to be asking her several questions about taxes, about what to do when you're at the casino, how to properly handle your winnings, and so much more. Nicole, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to talk taxes today.
All right, let's get started. So, Nicole, tell us a little bit about yourself. What is your experience? And then also, if there's any disclosures that we need to get out of the way before we start the interview.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm an enrolled agent, which is basically a federally licensed tax practitioner. I just have a love for everything taxes. I've also gambled once or twice, so I do enjoy that as well. So I'm excited to talk about gambling and taxes here, obviously. One thing that I do have to say is that I'm not a financial advisor, nor am I, a tax attorney or anything. And every kind of like bit of advice that I'm going to give here today will just be more generalized. So it's really important that somebody actually seeks out an actual tax practitioner who knows their exact situation, their exact tax bracket, their, expected winnings, et cetera, to make sure that the advice that they're getting pertains to them specifically.
All right, Nicole, so let's start off with a hot button issue that everybody has been asking about, and that is that $1,200 tax limit that the government has on slot machine jackpots. There's been a lot of talk about the government wanting to change that limit, about possibly raising it to 5,000. I know they've talked about the Slot Act. What new information is out there? Because we get asked about this all the time. So
Yeah.
let's just address it. Let's talk about it. What new information is out there about the Slot Act?
Absolutely. I really wish I had, more information for you guys. The hard thing is we don't get any, information before anybody else does. As far as I know that it's still under consideration. So I would say really everybody should, absolutely hope for the best. Like keep hoping that it goes through. I wouldn't just spend too much time, worrying about it or hoping that it's going to pass anytime soon. With the government, we all know that the wheels turn a little bit slow there. But obviously that $5,000 threshold would help out a lot of people, the casinos themselves as well. So I think it's a great idea, but I would just hope for the best, but also, just kind of plan for it just to stay where it's at for right now.
So, Nicole, when the casino hands a player a W-2G form when they win a jackpot, does the casino actually report that to the IRS? And how important is it that the player keep those and actually report all of them on their tax return at the end of the year?
So with that, what the casino actually does is they send a copy to the IRS, under your social security number there. So the IRS will have that on record, and they will expect when you actually submit your tax return under your social security number, of course, that they can line up all of the, information reporting that they received from the casinos, all the W-2Gs, that those will line up with all the W-2Gs that you're reporting on your tax return. So it's absolutely crucial that you hold on to every single one of those, that you expect to report every single one of those, and know that, copy of that will be furnished to the IRS as well.
So let's talk a little bit about losses. Nicole, a lot of people out there are confused about what they actually can and can't write off in terms of a loss. Does somebody have to have a documented jackpot first before they can write off their losses? And what all can they write off with losses at the casino?
Yeah, so that is actually, a really common question that tax professionals hear all the time. It's important here that there's two different, kind of categories when you're talking about gambling losses and writing things off on your tax returns. You kind of have like a professional gambler category and then also just a casual gambler category. So as far as casual gamblers go, you can actually write off your losses up to your winnings. So say you have a W-2G for $5,000, but you've also lost, $5,000 throughout the year, maybe even more so. You can write off up to that $5,000 to cancel out, kind of the winnings on that W-2G. It's important to note that you can't just net it all together. So say you won $5,000 on a W-2G, you have that, but you also lost $5,000. You can't just not report anything. It's important, like I said before, that you do report that W-2G, but you can, put your losses on your tax return. As far as that goes, that would actually go on Schedule A of your Form 1040. So that's itemized deductions. You actually only are able to take itemized deductions if you can beat the standard deduction. And that goes up and down every year. So keep that in mind, that you'll want to be keeping track of other itemized deductions such as mortgage interest, property taxes, vehicle taxes, medical bills, just, things like that. Maybe really speak with a, tax professional and see what kind of advice you can get that pertains to you specifically based off of, your expenditures throughout the year. As far as professional gamblers go, they can actually, report things on Schedule C of their tax return, and they can actually have a loss. They can, put all of their losses on there and all of their winnings. But it's very extensive, accounting and a lot of kind of audit trail work. If you want to be a professional gambler, you need to keep a constant, log. You need to keep track of everything, and you won't be doing it for pleasure. It will be basically something that you're doing professionally, not something that you just do recreationally.
So, Nicole, you just mentioned the term professional gambler. I think a lot of people out there are completely unaware that the IRS actually does have a category for that. And you can actually be a professional gambler in the eyes of the IRS. But I know not everybody can just run out and do that. Just because you go to the casino a lot doesn't automatically make you a professional gambler. So, in the eyes of the IRS, what constitutes somebody to be able to file as a professional gambler?
So that's actually a great question. A lot of people really don't realize that the IRS will recognize, certain people as professional gamblers. With this, it really does come with a lot of, back end work. You need to keep track of everything. But most importantly, you need to be spending a lot of time, gambling. It can't just be, every single weekend you go or every time you have a day off, you're gambling. It needs to be something that ties back to you professionally. For instance, with you, you gamble and you use that as far as the education that you provide with your viewers. You spend all of your time, you don't have another job. All of your time goes into gambling and providing, this education for your viewers. So that absolutely in the eyes of the IRS would be considered professional gambling. Because you are such a professional, I guess, per se, when it comes to gambling there. You don't just go do it just for fun when you have some free time. When you are kind of considered a professional gambler, you do need to keep a really extensive log. The cleaner the books, the better. Honestly, you can never keep record of too much. So if you hit really big on a certain slot machine, log down the slot machine number, who was there, where were you at, what other wagers did you place that day, what other money did you win, what money did you lose. I would absolutely keep a really extensive log as far as that goes, and I actually have one that I have given you, and I would be more than happy to share with anyone who wants it, if they feel that maybe they could constitute professional gambling status.
To take taxes out or not take taxes out? That is a big question that we get asked a lot. Should somebody request to have all of their taxes taken out right there at the casino, or are there certain situations where somebody should just wait until the end of the year to pay those taxes?
I would absolutely say, best effort would to be always take taxes out just right then and there. So say you hit that jackpot, when they come out to verify it, I would immediately, suggest to them that you need taxes withheld from that jackpot. Money that you haven't held onto, that you haven't had a chance to spend, you're not going to miss it, right? So you just immediately just don't worry about your tax obligation in the future. Just get it taken care of right then and there. Send it off to the IRS. Just be done with it. And then it's money that you didn't have a chance to maybe re-gamble, reinvest somewhere else. And then at the end of the year, all of this kind of, tax bill has been accruing and you owe this big lump sum to the IRS. That's going to hurt, So basically, I would think of it as a pay-as-you-go system, or proactive, just being proactive. I would absolutely just take care of it right then and there. Because your tax obligation is always going to be there, right? But you can always just keep playing and you're still winning. It's not like you're handing over all of your winnings to the IRS. Just withhold a certain portion. It's important, though, here to really look over your tax return and know what tax bracket you're in. So as far as that goes, like I said at the beginning, I'm kind of giving generalized advice here. It's really important that you go speak with a tax professional that knows your exact tax situation, unless you know exactly which tax bracket you're in. And I would just withhold that exact amount. You're in the 24% tax bracket, just withhold 24%. Like I said, it's just money that you haven't held on to. Just send it right in. You're done with it. And then you're good.
All right, so let's talk about win-loss statements. A lot of people have the burning question, is the win-loss statement that the casino provides at the end of the year, is that an acceptable document for the IRS to document losses?
So it is, a great statement, that basically has your years of, wins and losses, obviously, right? And it's from the casino. So it absolutely is acceptable as a form of, documentation or backup documentation. But it's not a tax form in itself. That's really important to distinguish here. It isn't a W-2G, so it is its own statement, and it's kind of just your proof. So as I mentioned before, it's really important that you keep a log of your, winnings and your losses, and how much you bet each day or lost each day. Even if you aren't a professional gambler, just even for casual gambling, because you need proof like this for an instance where you actually write off your losses. So you need a statement. It's important to also know I wouldn't 100% rely on the casino's, account of what happened to you throughout the year. I would also keep track of my own log and then maybe compare the two at the end of the year when it comes tax time. But yes, it is important to know that it can be used, but it is not an actual official tax document. So you can't report, direct winnings from that. You have to have a W-2G as well.
So let's talk now about life-changing wins. I know I would be extremely lucky if I found myself in this position. I know most people would be, but you always hear about these people that win, these mega jackpots or lotteries, or, if somebody goes and they hit a huge jackpot on a slot machine that's just absolutely massive. Tell us a little bit about what should somebody do if they ever find themselves in the position to be that lucky to win a life-changing amount.
Absolutely. So it's a big moment that, everybody hopes for, right? So first things first, enjoy it, take it in, really get excited about it. But then the next thing is you can't forget that with a lot of money, comes a lot of taxes, obviously. Your tax burden can change like that. You could have spent your whole life in the 10%, 12%, 22% tax bracket. You could immediately just flip over to the 37% tax bracket. It's important to remember, though, say you went into the 37% tax bracket, it's not just the winnings on this, huge lifetime changing, win that is getting taxed at 37%. It's all of your income. So your yearly, just regular, 9 to 5 job, that's going to start getting taxed at a higher tax bracket as well. So it's really important to, take it in, enjoy it, split up the money, I would say, just spend a little bit of it, go on a vacation, that vacation you've always wanted to plan on, but you also need to take another portion of it and be smart with it, plan for the future, pay off debts, consult, a tax advisor, a financial advisor, and be smart. But of course, that's not to say that you shouldn't just enjoy every moment of that as well. I don't think a lot of people know this, but about 70% of lottery winners actually end up bankrupt. And it's for this exact reason. They don't plan very smart, So, and that's not to say anything against them personally. You just need to be proactive. You need to make sure that you plan for the future while you still enjoy today, but you also need to seek out a tax professional because your financial situation, your tax situation has changed dramatically. So I would say maybe don't rely on just, an online tax software to, do your taxes this year. I would take a very proactive approach. Seek out an enrolled agent, a tax attorney, a CPA, a financial advisor, and be really smart with those winnings. But do absolutely enjoy every little bit of it because, that's what we all hope for, right? To hit a big win. But make sure you plan and don't become part of that 70% that also ends up bankrupt after a win like that.
So Nicole, now this one is kind of a loaded question. First of all, how can somebody be a smarter gambler? What steps can they take to be more responsible with their money? And also, how can the viewers out there get a hold of you if they want to utilize your services?
Absolutely. So I would love to hear from anybody, who really wants to speak with someone. I'd be more than happy to, even do a consultation, look over someone's tax situation, give them some advice as far as, how much to withhold, what kind of to expect, when you go to the casino. Just knowing your different tax brackets really is important for you to know. So if you plan on gambling, not day in, day out, but even just here and there, I would absolutely take a more proactive approach and reach out to someone. Even if it isn't, myself, I would be more than happy to refer somebody to some other people, or just to let you know, any enrolled agent, CPA, tax attorney, just make sure that it is a licensed tax professional. You can actually look up different licensed tax professionals in your area as well on the IRS website. But I would absolutely be more than happy to talk with people. So I think you might have access to my website and share that with, your viewers here. Just call me. We can set up a consultation, just even a video conference. I would love to talk about that with you. But as far as that goes, it is definitely a loaded question, of how to be smarter with that. So I've talked a lot, I think, about how to think about your tax bracket, right? And how to plan for taxes and all of that. And as far as your money goes. But I would say it's really important to remember that when you're gambling, you have real money in your hands, right? I think sometimes when you pull out something from the slot machine, you just have this little ticket. it doesn't feel real all the time, does it? Like, so I would absolutely cash out at times. Hold that money in your hand. Remember that this is real money. I would just walk into the casino with a set amount. I would pull out cash before you even go to the casino. Walk in, say, with whatever it is for you and your situation, $100, $500, $1,000 cash, and be okay with walking out of the casino at the end of the day without that money in your pocket. Don't ever plan on walking into a casino and walking away with more. I would say that's just the first step to, kind of a bad cycle. Don't ever go pull out more money either out of the ATM. Just know exactly how much in your budget and your exact financial situation, how much you can afford to gamble. And with that comes, different types of things where you guys kind of talk about a lot of strategies as well, which I think is great. So I would watch more videos on Cowboy's thoughts and see exactly your kind of advice, because you've been there, right? You know exactly the kind of traps that people can fall into. So really a big thing would be is take your winnings, kind of have a lockbox, put your winnings right there in that lockbox, and leave the key at home. I think you guys talk about that quite a bit, and I think that's such a great piece of advice. But just remember, you can't just keep gambling just to try and win back any losses in the day. Walk away, just take a moment. Remember that this is real life. There's real money. There's something in casinos, I tell you, sometimes we can all kind of lose sight of that, just that this is also our reality. So don't forget that it's your real money, and just be smart with it. Plan on exactly how much you can gamble, how you'd like to gamble it, and what you'd like to do with those winnings.
Well, Nicole, thank you so much for joining us today, and thank you so much for answering all of our questions. Nicole is with Anderson Tax and Consulting, and we're going to put Anderson Tax and Consulting's information in the video description down below, so do go and check them out. Nicole, once again, thank you so much for joining us today. Really do appreciate having you here on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I had a blast.
For all of you out there watching, be sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit that bell to stay notified for when we come out with future episodes. As always, best of luck, gamble responsibly, and we'll see you again next episode. Take care. Thanks so much for watching. Check out these other videos and be sure to subscribe to the channel for more slot tips. It's always free. Visit ropethejackpot.com for free guides and a whole lot more. Catch you on the next episode.